Good morning and welcome to today's webinar from TCM. My name is Mark Buckley and I'll be your host for today. This webinar is titled How Tools Such as Speech Analytics and Workforce Management Can Help Support Employee Retention. I'll now hand you across to today's moderator, Luke Sculthorp. Luke, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Welcome everyone. I'm Luke Sculthorp, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Credit Management. As Mark said, your moderator for today. We have a very prestigious panel with us, comprising Emma Reynolds from TCM, give us a wave, Darren Rogers from Overdales Legal, thanks Darren, and Mayet from APN Group. Today, we'll be discussing how voice analytics can make your agents happier, your workflow smoother, and your workplace a little more like a well-oiled machine. So let's kick things off with a common challenge, really, that every collections manager knows too well, and that's keeping your best agents from heading for the exit. What if you could spot the warning signs early? So this goes over to you, Emma. How can voice analytics help us do just that?
Thanks, Luke. So first of all, as most of you will know, I love talking about TCN, especially the voice analytics side of the platform. So this topic is very interesting to me because I've been in the collections industry for over 10 years. I started my debut as an agent myself, and agent morale is so important. It's a difficult job. You speak to people that are going through different emotions, some mental health issues and things like that. So morale for agents is key. And voice analytics plays a key part in that. We didn't have voice analytics back in the day, so it is a new feature that is definitely worth having. Calls are monitored, transcribed, and summarized, and can also be scored automatically. Identifying the interaction quality between customer and agents is important. It can reveal whether the agent is struggling emotionally, in work itself, the workload, or just simply need further training. Scorecards can help with improving customer service, which ultimately helps the agent as well. So their calls can be handled better and easier and makes a better working environment for the agent. They can see where improvement is needed and things like that. You can set incentives and goals, which is ultimately a bit of a buzz booster. I actually implemented voice analytics with a client not so long ago. And there's a little quote that's kind of stuck with me when implementing that. And we picked a call at random, and there was a strong Scottish Glaswegian accent from the agent and a strong Northern accent from the customer. Picked this call, the transcription appeared, and the client actually turned around to me and said, "Did you write this transcription up in your hotel room last night?" Because it was word for word. The tool's phenomenal. It helps agents, customers, QA in so many different ways.
So you mentioned sort of the burnout. What would be the early signs of burnout? And maybe if you could just give us some more explicit detail around patterns or matrix that you've seen in certain circumstances, certain situations.
Yeah, so I mean, with emotion, you can sense emotion over the phone without seeing someone. So the tone on the phone in the recordings can sense whether an agent is in a bit of a bad place or not. Again, the scorecards can highlight that as well. And if this is an ongoing thing for an agent, at least the QA or the training team can flag that up and help the agent and ask further questions as to what's up, and if they don't feel comfortable on the phone, or if they need further training and things like that.
Okay, great. We'll move on to the next piece, and give a bit of preamble. If you imagine we're planning a dinner party, but we don't have any idea of how many guests are showing up, that sounds pretty stressful. But the same goes for managing call volumes. So we're going to look at forecasting with workforce management for creating smoother workflows. If you can't predict call volumes, you're pretty much in for a chaotic shift. So moving it over to Darren, going clockwise. Really, the question here is, how can workforce management systems help us forecast more accurately and create smoother workflows to avoid drowning in unexpected call waves?
Sure, thanks, Luke. So workforce management systems in themselves use a combination of historical data or manually inputted data, depending on the type of business that you're in. 9 times out of 10, it's predominantly going to look at historical data. So that's looking at everything that you've done in the past from an incremental point of view, so right down to the second, rolling all the way up then into hours, into days, into day of week, month of year, etc., with the ability to flag special anomalies such as bank holidays or celebrations such as Eid or Christmas. What we're tracking at that point then is not just call volumes, but also AHT, because both of those two contributory factors go into making any form of call profile. Knowing where your customers have called helps you then to view where they're going to call going forwards. So kind of understanding where you've been helps you to see where you need to go. So that then, to your analogy, Luke, helps us then to understand how many guests we're going to expect at our party. Looking at all that historical data, again, we're going to be able to forecast call volumes. We're going to be able to forecast AHT. We're going to be able to forecast then how we can overlay shrinkage from a colleague point of view and holidays or any other form of absence from a colleague point of view. Again, looking at those patterns then allows us to optimize where we can be there for our customers or our clients' customers, but also where we can maximize the engagement that we can give and the support and coaching and feedback we can give to our agents, as well as where we can allow additional holidays or pull back where we're anticipating any significant demand. So if you think of a real life situation within that, especially around holiday management, TCN's workforce management system, as with most, they're not just limited to being accessed within the core office as they used to be back when I started in the planning world. You can now access them on your own device and book holidays, etc., as and when you need to. So that's that real life example. You know, you're walking through the high street on a Saturday morning, friends and family, you've seen an advert in a window for a really good discounted holiday. Rather than waiting until go back into the office on the Monday and missing out on that discount, workforce management systems now allow you to literally pull your phone out your pocket, log in, see if those holidays are available, get an automatic decision that those have been approved, and take advantage of that particular holiday or wherever it may be that's there. So again, that really does help to lead to happier, more engaged agent experiences, both from the holiday point of view, but also from an activity point. Because again, if we know where our customers are going to be calling through, we know where we can book activity, which reduces the need to potentially rearrange, move, cancel, anything along those lines. So in a nutshell, sort of utilizing the historical data to forecast future trends allows for a more accurate placement of phone activities, as well as amendments to holiday allocations, this leading then to a happier workforce engagement and overall performance metrics.
And Darren, just focusing on sort of predicting the peak times you mentioned,
sure.
How do you see the integration of real-time voice analytics data enhancing the accuracy of those forecasts even further? How do you see that going down the track?
Well, I think the two go hand in hand. So if we understand not just where the calls are coming through, but what type of calls are coming through and what type of experiences that we're seeing come through, that again can allow us to really enhance that forecast. So think about it at a holistic point of view. In my example, we were literally looking through to say, how many calls are we going to get in this particular segment? Integrating voice analytics in that absolutely really allows us to open that box a little bit more and say, how many of this particular skill are we going to get at that point? Or how many particular conversations are we going to have that are going to need a little bit more of an enhanced skill set from a colleague to be able to really support and engage with that. So again, joining the two together really does give you the best of both worlds. You're not just seeing where the call patterns are coming through and be able to forecast, you're also really being able to use the experiences from voice analytics to really drive that customer to the right agent to really enhance the output that you get in there as well.
Okay, that's great, Darren. Thank you.
No worries.
Moving on to further focus, and again, giving a bit of preamble. I guess nobody likes the feeling that they're being graded on a pop quiz they didn't know they were taking part in. And sometimes QA can feel like that for agents. So our next topic is going to focus on transparent QA with voice analytics. And we're going to be sort of asking that question about making the process fairer, more open. So over to Mo, again, clockwise. How can you envisage and how can we use voice analytics to help quality assurance feel less like a pop quiz, more like an open book exam?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Luke. So yeah, I'm Mo Mayet. I am currently the Group Dialer and Communications Manager for the APN Group, and I've worked in the debt industry for over 15 years now, and with a lot of different companies. And I have experience in working with consumer debt, non-consumer debt, and more recently, unpaid parking charges and unpaid vet fees. But one thing that's always been a constant, regardless of whichever company I've worked for, is QA. QA is essential for a variety of reasons. And the first reason that comes to mind is that it ensures consistency in service quality. So QA will help maintain a consistent level of service by making all the agents adhere to either the company standards or protocols. A real strong QA process ensures that the customer always receives a high level of service every time, and that only helps build the organization's trust and the reputation. But QA is also there for to improve customer satisfaction. So through QA, organizations can identify any recurring problems, whether that is a knowledge gap with some of the agents, or if it's communication skills, or even processes within the organization. They can identify those and take corrective action. But it's also important to note that QA is there to support agent development. So regular feedback from QA processes, it helps the agents understand their strengths and also their areas for improvement. And it fosters a culture of continuous learning and development. And it goes without saying that QA is there to also ensure compliance and mitigate risk. Not only does QA help ensure that all interactions meet all regulatory requirements, it also helps protect the brand. So if the agents are following the procedures and avoid making any misstatements, it will protect the company from any potential disputes or liabilities. So to answer the question, well, how can we use voice analytics to make QA feel less like a pub quiz? The first thing that I've got is voice analytics can provide real-time feedback and coaching. So with voice analytics, we can provide instant feedback during the call. So if an agent veers off script or misses any key phrases, or even if the customer's sentiment changes negatively, the system can prompt the agent with suggestions to bring that call back on track. This now turns QA from a critiquing tool to a supportive tool. So it's there to enhance performance or help agents. All of this can be done automatically, by the way, through the use of tagging in voice analytics. But what you could also do with the tagging in voice analytics is actually alert a supervisor to monitor the live call, and then the supervisor can send messages to the agent to try and bring that call back on track. So real-time feedback is a fantastic benefit. QA with voice analytics also helps with continuous learning and improvement. So if an agent has failed or has received negative marks for any specific topic, voice analytics can automatically link feedback to training materials. So as an example, if an agent has has failed due to objection handling, the system can suggest specific training modules for the agent to read. This just helps reinforce that QA is a learning opportunity rather than a surprise test. Also, I think regular calibration sessions is needed with voice analytics for transparency and consistency. So if you hold regular calibration sessions where agents and the QA teams review how the voice analytics are assessing calls, it just makes the understanding from the agent's point of view a lot better. So they understand the reasoning behind the scores, and it reduces the feeling of being tested without context, really. And QA doesn't always have to be negative. So through voice analytics, you can also give positive reinforcement and recognition. So we can use voice analytics to identify and highlight any positive interactions, any successful call handling. You can recognize these without the need to even listen to a call. It makes it really easy to just recognize the colleagues in a team meeting or through any internal communication. If you just get a list of this is all the amazing stuff that the agent has done, and most importantly, again, it shifts the focus from QA being purely a tool to catch mistakes to a tool that celebrates successes as well. And lastly, because I can talk about this for a long time, QA can also help form development goals. You can create any personalized development plans based on using the insights from voice analytics. So focusing on continuous improvement rather than any just pass or fail outcomes. Again, it shifts the focus of QA from a judging tool to a development or a growth tool. And I'm a huge advocate for voice analytics in QA, and I believe that voice analytics just helps develop the workforce. It's not just there to pass judgment on whether someone is good at their job or not. It's not just a pop quiz. Let's use voice analytics QA not just to measure the performance, but also develop enhance skills, and ultimately deliver the best possible service to our customers.
That's really clear, the insights you've given around the value of real-time feedback, Mayet. That's really clear and very well articulated.
Thank you.
Question from me would be, you've probably experienced some challenges, I don't know, but what if you can give me some sort of highlights on this? You know, if you've experienced any challenges when facing and implementing this approach, this real-time feedback approach, and maybe how did you overcome that? Maybe Darren can support on this as well. But anything around that?
Well, I think for me, the biggest success that we've had here is we've been able to implement changes to our existing processes. So what I mean by that is the results of the voice analytics has enabled us to improve our letter content. Where the voice analytics results showed that the agents were spending a lot of time dealing with queries in relation to a reference number. And what that allowed us to do is actually review the letters and look at the positioning of the reference numbers, because we have two different types of reference numbers on our letters, and the agents can only deal with one of them. So by changing the letter content, we've been able to shave close to 30 seconds off our average handle time Now, that doesn't sound like a huge amount. However, over the space of the day, you're looking at quite a few extra calls that an agent is able to take. Now, it isn't always about answering extra calls. It's also about the customer or the debtor journey. So the debtor on the phone hasn't had to have 30 seconds of time where they are going through an experience which wasn't necessary. So for us, that's been a huge success in terms of getting the analytics out of voice analytics. Not sure if you'd like to add anything, Darren.
Yeah, and again, I think this comes back to the original point, and again, good points well made, Mo, around voice analytics and workforce management, rather than them being two completely separate entities, really do need to be used in conjunction with each other. All the brilliant feedback and insight that Mo's getting from the analytics tool is only as good as them being able to utilize that, plan for it, and make sure you're getting the best out of it. So again, with any form of analytics tool, voice analytics in particular, finding those challenges that may be in the journey that the debtor's going through, or the processes then that our colleagues are working through. Once we've identified that, we then need to retrain or rebrand or re-image what that needs to look like to really optimize and make sure
That's great,
we're all
Darren.
singing from a demand to happen.
That's great, Darren. Thank you, Mo.
No worries.
Thank you.
So we've been sorting out a dinner party. We've been looking at a pop quiz. We're going to move on to a bit of music now, and really looking at the agents as players in an orchestra. If one section is out of sync, the whole performance can fall flat, as we know. So consistency is key. So our final topic is creating harmony in the workplace with voice analytics. So opening this up to everybody on the panel, how can we use voice analytics to ensure everyone's playing in harmony and keep the workplace melody smooth, so that every agent feels like they're part of the symphony? And if we can go clockwise around, so over to you, Emma. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. I was always taught smile as you dial. And I think that it is the best thing that you can do. From your tone of voice, you can tell if you're in a good mood or not. I think for agents, again, like I've said before, the morale thing is so important. With voice analytics, there's the flags and the filters. Agents seem to think of that as a negative thing, that they're going to be flagged up about all these bad things. I know Mo touched on this earlier, but I always try and recommend to my clients that implement voice analytics to make some positive filters and flags, like simply the word thank you. If the agent or the customer has said thank you, they're thankful, they're grateful for that call. They've helped the agents help the customer. They've calmed them down and organized a payment plan and that sort of thing, you know? And I think the positive flags are equally as important, and it keeps the agents boosted in, you're doing a great job, you're being really nice and empathetic and everything. And again, with the scorecards, you could send out 10 positive scorecards, and just to boost that agent up, you know, you did really good on the opening of that call. You did really good with listening to their circumstances. So I think that's the big thing, is looking at the positive side of it. It's not a negative thing to pick up every little bad sort of habit or anything. It is a positive platform.
Thank you.
Absolutely, to echo that and then go into the more of the workforce side again. Absolutely agree with Emma and with Mo. You know, these are not tools just to focus on the negative. They have to be done to view the entire journey, celebrate the successes that are coming through, and then work with our colleagues to overcome any potential challenges that may arise. All of that then filters back into, where do we give the colleague that time to be able to sit down, to be able to listen to that call, to understand, listening back to it where any inflections have happened, and having a really strong forecast view to understand where the best place to put that time is absolutely key to be able to drive both sides. again, feedback is as powerful the closer to the live situation that it is, and voice analytics is very, very close to real time. Again, having that built directly into the forecast models as well means that we're not giving you that feedback 4 hours later when you've had 20 calls in the middle. We're giving it you either straight after or at the very least 1 call in the middle. So then that feedback, again, focusing on the positives and any challenges are delivered whilst everything's fresh in the mind.
Yeah, and yeah, great stuff, guys. Because I echo everything that both Emma and Darren have said. I think I love the analogy about the harmony, by the way, and I think that you can actually refer back to the type of music that you're listening to, because each different type of music that you're listening to will have a different harmony almost. So I think it's really important for each company to find out what their harmony actually is. Once you have a clear understanding of what actually your harmony is, you can use voice analytics to really assist with creating your harmony. So, for instance, does it include like consistency in service quality? Because voice analytics can definitely assist you with that. It's all automated. There's no need to have a team of 13 to 15 people monitoring calls, because voice analytics can do that for you and can provide really good results. Does it include does your harmony include continuous learning or improvement? Because voice analytics can definitely help with that as well. Like, for example, suggesting learning material to complete if there's a learning opportunity, or positively reinforce, like we've been saying, positively reinforce the positive interactions to boost colleague morale. And I also think that if you were to use voice analytics and that was part of your harmony, it's really important to communicate how voice analytics is used and why it is used. I think transparency is key. The last thing you want is to upset a workforce in not explaining how this works and how this actually can benefit them. So yeah, transparency is key to making sure everyone knows their role that it plays in the company.
So further question from me then, so trying to reflect on all the comments, really looking at maybe agents becoming overwhelmed with feedback that we're using through the insights that we're gathering from the voice analytics. Are there any strategies that have proven most effective when we're in that position of trying to avoid overwhelming that agent? Is there any insights that you can give on that, anyone?
Yeah. I think one of the main ones for me, just to touch on Darren's topic, is workforce management. I think the feeling of being overwhelmed, especially when it comes to phone calls and how busy it is, knowing from experience, agents will be really disheartened if they find out that there's been too many, that we have approved too many holidays or something of that nature. And the opposite as well, if it's really quiet and an agent wanted to have a holiday and we declined it, that it doesn't reflect well at all. So really good workforce management and really good forecasting will prevent those kind of situations and make sure that the agent's experience whilst they're working for us is a positive one. Don't know if you'd like to touch on anything like that, Darren.
No, completely agree. You've taken the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely
Stole your
no worries.
words. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to say thank you very much to you all coming along. If there's any final, we are almost on time actually, but if there's any final comments that you want to put forward, I totally echo what Darren was saying about combining the two, voice analytics and workforce management. That is the key, isn't it? And I think that's the big takeaway with everything that we've been discussing. But I want to say, thank you very much for coming along today, and to everybody for listening.
Thank you
Thanks,
for having
everyone.
me on. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Luke. Just see if any questions come through. I know we're very close to the end, so if they do, I'm certain we can get them to Emma, Darren, Mo, and Luke, and they can come back to you after the event. So what I'd like to do now is thank Luke very much for his time today as the moderator, and also Emma, Darren and Mo for their valuable and informative contributions as well. I'd like to remind everyone that this webinar will be listed on our website from tomorrow if you'd like to listen again or recommend it to any colleagues who couldn't make it today. Also, just before you go, we'd appreciate it if you could take a few minutes just to give some feedback in the relevant area provided. And aside from that, I'd like to thank everyone for their time today. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.